Bam.
And we're in.
We are live. Hello. We're trying something a little bit different. We're primping. We're getting ready. We're fiddling. We've been fiddling with technology. But welcome to my basement, everybody, especially Ben Silverman joining us from San Francisco.
And we're not live, right? We're not live yet, right?
We are live.
Get your makeup on. Get prepared.
We can keep fiddling. And, of course, Johnny Millennium from the HappyConsoleGamer show.
Good to be here. Absolutely.
Is here. We've been switching.
We've been switching, and I'm going to retweet that we're doing this right now.
Okay, fantastic. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is a big deal. This is the launch of Nintendo's system today. Many of you have been playing with the Switch since midnight last night, I guess.
Absolutely.
In different parts of the world out there. But it's available to everybody if you can find it. And that's the tough thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I think what we should do is basically give everyone a minute to kind of tell us how they're feeling about the Switch right now.
Let's start with Ben.
Let's start with Ben, yeah. Okay, so Ben Silverman, why don't you tell us how things are going?
Zelda's great. Hardware's interesting. Where are all the fucking games? Next.
You need
it's true.
45 seconds still to fill in there.
Oh, I got to do this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, it's really nice seeing Nintendo make mature technology, and I think we've seen them, kind of fiddle around with all kinds of different things, and they tend to make systems that feel like toys, and this actually feels like a piece of consumer technology. This could have been made by Samsung or Apple almost. When you actually get that tablet in your hands, it's heavy, it's weighty, it's real, and I think there's a lot of really cool stuff they're doing with the tech. But I have a lot of problems with sort of everything else they're doing around it, and I think a lot of people are, except right now, no one's thinking about that, because we're all thinking about The Legend of Zelda, which is arguably the greatest game we've ever seen in that series, certainly a shoo-in for Game of the Year. So I think we're going to have to talk about that. We're going to have to talk about the Switch. There's a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. John, what are you feeling right now, bro?
I'm liking Zelda. I went this morning. I picked up the Master Edition for Zelda, which was absolutely fantastic. A lot of people in the lineup. There was a lot of people lined up this morning.
I know, and I keep seeing pictures from my friends from that cover video games, tweeting out pictures from their various cities. People lined up all over the place. How big was the lineup?
And that's interesting to say. Yeah. When the Wii U was launched, I was in the same lineup.
Yeah.
Was half the size. I was I think I was 8 people in, and there was 15 people behind me.
Right.
After that.
Right.
Never mind people coming, the rest of the day. People who have pre-orders will be coming, the rest of the day. But I like it. I'm like you, Ben. I like Zelda. Yeah. I don't think there's enough of a launch lineup. I have had Joy-Con issues with the left Joy-Con.
Yes.
I hate to bring up the negatives, but we're going to bring up those as well today.
Well, we have to, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think this is the challenge that Nintendo has got right now is they've got to, kind of build back from all the naysayers that are out there that have a lot of, skepticism that's justified. A lot of unhappy Wii U owners out there.
Is there anything that you don't like right now?
I do feel like it feels like parts of it could bust or break. It feels a little more fragile than Nintendo machines that I'm used to. It feels more robust than the pictures kind of make you think it will feel. It feels like it's got a little bit more heft to it. But you do feel like you could lose the little extra doodads for the Joy-Con.
I think Ben's already lost some,
right?
It is a doodad heavy device. I mean, like when you start unpacking it, the first thing that jumps out at you is that it's a tablet. It's a portable. I think a lot of people think of it as a home console that you can take with you on the go. When you actually hold it, you're like, no, this is a portable that you can connect to your TV.
Yeah.
And that's a Switch that I think, oh my God. Oh, I just did it. Holy shit, it worked. No, but I think that is something that your head kind of has to wrap itself around. So there's so many of these little things though. There's the little Joy-Cons, there's the little Joy-Con covers. You've got 4 of these little, the controllers and the things, and then you've got the unit, and you got the dock, and it's a lot of fiddly parts that you just feel like in 6 months, am I going to have all these things? I've already lost one. So
yeah. Well, and the other thing too is that the Joy-Con experience, if you have the Pro controller, and those are going to be really hard to get too, the Joy-Con experience is nowhere near as good as the Pro controller.
Yes.
And I'm not a big fan of taking the Joy-Cons off and playing like Zelda with the Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
In 2 separate hands. I prefer to play it on the tablet, to play it on the Switch itself, all connected, or with the Pro Controller.
I played it with the what's the middle thing?
Grip.
the
Joy-Con
grip. Yeah, the grip.
Joy-Con grip.
I had to play with that all week.
Yeah.
And I had some serious Joy-Con issues with the left Joy-Con, and Link would just keep on running at times. I'm like, why are you doing that? And I disconnected.
Right.
And I could see it disconnecting
Right.
all the time. It was ridiculous. That's one thing that I didn't like. When I got my Pro Controller this morning, no problems.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
all.
Well,
That's going to be a really sticky issue for Nintendo
Yeah.
because the day one patch came and I was one of those people hopeful that maybe this was a firmware thing. They were just going to push something out into it and it would fix it. But it's there still, and I think it's something you can work around. For me, at least, it was evident when I would hold the controller low, it would happen. Like if I cross my knee sometimes when I play. If there's any physical obstruction, it happens. If I hold it where there isn't a physical obstruction, it seems to work. So I feel like there's a way around it, but what are they going to recall it? I mean, this is a thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a real thing.
I mean, haven't the Switch lag things been about stuff in the way, like playing it and it's
But it shouldn't be. Nothing should get interfere with that. If you got
Right,
your
you should
Switch,
be able to play it under the
I
tray
should be able
table.
to play it in my ears.
Yeah,
I
true.
should play
Yeah.
behind my back or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
You could do that with the Waper. Play behind your back, no issues.
Right.
Why is this 2017 technology? They rushed it out a little bit. And
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think they did. I'm enjoying Zelda a lot, but that left Joy-Con is my problem right now.
That is an issue, and when you start to kind of pack all of that stuff, which I just did to take all the stuff to GDC, it starts to be a little less portable, because you've got the
case.
you've got the thing for
Yeah.
itself, and then you've got the dock if you want to plug it into a TV somewhere. But if you want to take the Joy-Cons off and stick them onto the grip, that's another thing that you got to bring down.
Yeah.
If you want to use the Pro Controller, so suddenly there's a little takeaway bag of well, it's basically this box plus another box.
Yeah, but it's still pretty small, right?
Yeah.
It's still pretty small.
And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like when you've traveled with it, I traveled with it for 3 days. I went to the DICE conference and then ended up going to GDC. So this is why, by the way, I look the way I do. This is as good as it gets at 2 conferences.
You look beautiful. You always look beautiful.
A close-up and my lips look like I'm in Mad Max, man. It's horrifying. So I took it on the plane. Don't tell anybody. I took it to a hotel. I traveled with this thing and really tried to game with it for a while. And I did really enjoy that portable experience. I didn't bring the dock. I treated it just like a handheld. And, there's some battery life issues and some other things. But I still feel like this is sort of Nintendo having a solution to a problem that doesn't necessarily exist, which is the problem being I have my game on my TV and I'm dying to always take it with me. I think a lot of people have sort of gotten used to the concept of, well, I have my console, my experience in front of my TV, and then I have my smart device or my whatever that I take when I leave. I think it's cool, and I think Nintendo is great at making us suddenly realize that there's something we didn't know we needed in our lives. They did that with the Wii, right? No motion controls. They've done that over the years. And maybe this is what that'll do in the long run is I'll start to play a PS4 game and I'll be like, God, I want to just take it with me. And I can't. So that's the hope, is that you'll start to see that this weird thing, this kind of portability bit, which sort of seems like, well, is it going to really, do I need to do it? It's going to have implications with the rest of the industry. I think they have a chance, but they have to fix a lot of these little flaws, right?
Well, if they could, ever design the perfect game to launch with that in mind, that you don't ever want to leave it. You're playing it whether you're playing it or not, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all sitting here taking a break from Zelda. Let's be honest.
I was doing that right till I came over here.
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
And now that is the game that you want to sort of cart with you. And if Nintendo can keep up with that pace and also kind of train us to think like that. What they are doing is kind of closing a new ecosystem that hasn't really been available to us in the console space before or the handheld space before, right? And I got to tell you, like I've really enjoyed playing it portably, and I dug playing it on the plane. And I was sitting with a bunch of game developers that don't work at Nintendo, and they were all very envious that I was sitting there playing
great.
Zelda
Yeah,
right
yeah.
beside them. And it was a complete immersion, and I got lost in that game world. But that game in particular just benefits so much from the TV experience.
Yes.
To get home and take that Switch and plug it in, it's an awesome console on the TV.
Playing Zelda with the Pro Controller that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's really the way. And you can take it with you. That's great too.
Yeah.
But for me personally,
Yeah.
it's playing on the TV with the Pro Controller. Everything, the controls worked great. There was no left Joy-Con issues. I didn't even have to think about that.
Yeah.
I could just play the game. I have to ask you both something.
Yes.
I'll start ask you, Ben, first. Do you have any regrets giving Zelda a 10 out of 10?
I immediately wondered if I was going to regret it because it's the first 10 I ever gave.
know.
Working
I
with
think
Victor.
same for me.
Yeah.
It's a big
Yeah.
thing. People are going to
Yeah.
hold you as
It's my first
accountable.
10 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
Victor's
it
very first 10.
Not yours.
Finally, first game Victor likes.
Yeah.
No, I feel strongly that as a piece of software and as a, not just as a launch title, but as a piece of software launching a new piece of technology, you don't expect them to be this good. You just don't expect them to be this polished. And I think there's a real tendency to be like, especially for me, I've said this over the years a lot of times, it takes 3-4 years before we see the best software come out for a game system. It's rare that you get the best thing out of the gate. Very rare. It's only happened 4 or 5 times ever.
What about the frame rate issues? And there is some frame rate issues.
Yeah.
And where the game just starts to chug for a second and then it's okay. Like, do you take that into consideration? Are you 10? No, because I give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I mean, every game's got a thing, and I used to be very like, no game is perfect. I mean, I had a 10-year career running an enthusiast website called Game Revolution, and that was like, we never gave an A+. That was like a badge of honor. Like, nothing's ever perfect, so we're never going to give it a perfect score. But the older and wiser I would hope I get, you start to realize that's not really what this is about. You're not trying to look for perfection. You're looking at, is this experience as good? Like, it's almost like the back of the box. Is this doing what the back of the box claims it's doing? Is this living up to its marketing? Because the marketing of all these games, every game you've played, is a 10, right? But then it's always like, no.
You whittle down.
Scale it down a bit, yeah.
And I think this game not only lives up to the hype that Nintendo has given it, the hype that we've given it, but it exceeds sort of my expectations for what this series could be. And I've been playing this series from the first game, the first Zelda. I met my best friend in junior high because of that. Like, it was a meaningful game. It was a groundbreaking game. It's always been my favorite of the Zeldas.
Mine too.
And it's awesome. And I mean, Link to the Past, there's other amazing games, Ocarina, but this really feels like game design mastery. Like, they have gotten to places that we've never seen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I think so much of that too is the fact that so many amazing kinds of sequences are built into this, and so many cool ideas from previous games have been applied to this unabashedly. And also, it's completely, changes the format, so it's not the exact same Zelda thing that we've come to expect. And so it's tough not to just applaud it on that level, and then you get lost in the game world, which is so unbelievably well sort of realized for us. And I feel like it was a fantastic, because it is. I haven't played it on the Wii U, but apparently it's just as good on the Wii U. Maybe
nice
with
to hear.
with some more frame rate problems.
Yeah.
But I think it is the perfect game to kind of tide people over, but also to train people to think that they want to carry that game with them wherever they go. And also, it's so good that even in this conversation, which was supposed to be about the Switch, we have slid right back into Zelda talk because it's such a seminal piece of software.
But that's also because there's no other fucking games to talk about, Vic.
Well, it's because it's so good as well. It could have absolutely been terrible.
Yeah.
And then, boy, would that'd have been a disaster.
Well,
but
there's snipper
shock.
clips. Did you guys check out snipper clips?
I
at all?
haven't.
Yeah.
So Ben was playing it.
I'm playing it right here. Snipper Clips is good. Fast RMX is fine. I mean, there are some little games that are not horrible, but there are some other games that are not only bad or not very good, but wildly overpriced. Just Dance 2017 is a $60 game. It came out 5 months ago for $10 less on the PS4 and Xbox One. Like, why? What's that?
Yeah.
And that, you see that more and more. A Bomberman is $50. This is U.S., so I think it's $300 in Canada.
You sell a car and then you can go.
But I can tell Ben loves Switch 1-2. His game of the year, I think he said, didn't he?
It's 1-2 Switch.
1-2 Switch.
This is a title that we'll forget.
Because you said 1-2-3 Switch before.
I know, but
I don't care what it is.
The game is forgettable.
It's forgettable.
Yeah, it's a mini game compilation that is just
I'm
kind of
forgetting
embarrassing.
it. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You are actually hanging with Scott Jones, who's down at GDC right now, and you guys played through every single one of the mini games.
No, we didn't. We lasted about 15 of them, and then Scott I thought he might pass out. He was so angry. And I don't know if anybody out here has seen, probably not a lot of people have seen Scott Jones lately, but he has a beard. Mm-hmm. And I think the beard is making he's warmer now, like not good warmer, just like his body temperature. And he's just sort of running hot. And so we were playing this thing, we were both getting so infuriated. I think he was just, what the fuck is that, Silverman? And I'm like, I'm sorry,
he's milking two cows at the same time.
We're just looking at each other going, and he's got that beard. He's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I'm like, you're doing it. We got to test it. And then he's like, this is bullshit. And started to just froth at the mouth.
Welcome to my life and many Kinect game reviews with Scott Jones.
He wasn't wrong. It's terrible. Yeah. It is a terrible, embarrassing, terrible thing.
Yeah, it is. It is desperate, right? Yeah. It's just a sign of... just wanting to show off hardware capabilities.
Even if it was a pack-in game, I would still not like it at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just forgettable. But
it's embarrassing because honestly, when you stack it next to the other piece of software that Nintendo launched their machine with, it just looks
like night and day,
right? And all of those mini games could have just been like hidden in a cave in Zelda.
Right? Yeah, that cave. I know that's a cave that you would seal, and never go back to again.
Yeah, you go in and you drop one of your blue bombs on it and hope nobody else finds it.
It's so low rent. That's what surprises me is that like. The video montages before each of the little mini games where it's like there's one called like Gorilla.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Where it's like two people dressed in like 70s gorilla costumes, like from Laughing or some shit. And
that's what me and Vic are doing every night here in the studio.
Yeah, it's like that without all the sex. And then there's you have to like go ooga ooga and like it's the stupidest thing. And the intro to it is just like these two people in gorilla costumes, like we're wacky, and I'm like, this is so meme worthy. Like, please, I can't wait for the internet to just start ripping this stuff and just make the worst.
People are going to forget it. But what's sad is people keep sending me pictures of their haul, right? Their haul from last night, and that game is in a lot of hauls. A lot of people just bought it because of the attention that Nintendo gave it at the press conference, and. I think we were all kind of suspect of that game, and we were rolling our eyes, and I think our fears turned out to be kind of true with this.
Well, I remember when you unboxed the Switch and we all hooked it up. We're like, wow, let's do this.
Yeah.
We played for 10 minutes, and it was like, okay, that's over.
Yeah.
Let's put Zelda back on. Let's get back to that.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of I'm enjoying snipper clips quite a bit. I think that's a really cool experience. Yeah, I like this idea of the puzzle thing, and I thought when I was in Toronto at the event, they didn't even have it on a TV. They just had it on the screen, and they had the two Joy-Cons off, and everybody was supposed to play. You can't play that game with the Pro Controller. You have to use
you have to use the Joy-Cons.
You have to use the Joy-Cons.
And that makes sense because you have to move the pieces and things like that, right?
Yeah, and I actually thought that was pretty damn cool. It really it was a great escape on an airplane, and that's what I was playing for the majority of the flight back last night, and I think that's definitely worth the pickup, and it's not a full price game either. It's on the eShop right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the right price for that game, and it's cute. It looks like Loco Roco. It reminds me of sort of like great indie games, and I think those titles, the $20 titles, are not bad. I mean, Shovel Knight, the complete collection, the treasure trove, that's a $25 for like 3 Shovel Knight or 4 Shovel Knight games, essentially.
That's a great game in general,
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. It's just old. It was 2014 game that they're launching a system with. All the stuff that the little Inferno World of Goo guys, they didn't get their stuff out at launch, but it'll be out very shortly.
Yeah.
I mean, World of Goo launched the Wii U, I think, or Little Inferno launched the Wii U, and World of Goo was 2008. It's like they've just... It's baffling what's happening with the rest of the software.
The Shakedown Hawaii game that's coming, and they've got...
well, they got the Street Fighter game that's coming, and that was like a 2007, 2008 game as well.
Yeah,
$40.
They have a bunch of the indie titles that are sort of making their way. Ukulele is coming to this machine. There is a nice suite of titles that at that Nintendo Indie event, it was like, yeah, man, there's going to be a nice collection. You already got that
but nobody's
Master game.
Yeah, I'm trying that out right now as well,
Yeah, but nobody's buying the Nintendo Switch for indie games. I mean, you buy the Nintendo
That's
Switch.
kind of, yeah, and I agree with you on that.
But this is the thing. It's also a portable machine, so in a sense, it's a terrific way to experience these things.
Yeah.
Because some of them are smaller or more bite-sized, or they're more sort of.
For virtual console games, like getting a Neo Geo game, playing it on your TV is awesome, but taking it away with you is even better. Right. That's where I like it.
Yeah.
That's where I like it. Yeah.
And the indie games too, especially the 2D indie games that are supposed to maybe look a little retro or whatever. They're going to be amazing.
Like
on the
Blaster
portable
Master
screen.
and stuff like that.
And they will be, $10 to $20 or $30.
Yeah, but what concerns me, Victor, is that this is true, but all of that stuff is the. You're talking about the the Brussels sprouts on the plate, the cranberry sauce on the plate, the stuffing on the plate of our Thanksgiving meal.
They used to be the double A's in our business, though, and now those don't exist. So we have.
Well, no, they do. Sure, they do. I looked at. I can't talk much about it, but what about Shadow of War that's coming out? How about Red Dead Redemption? Like, this is another year, and this is another console launch from Nintendo, where they are saying very plainly, you're going to play Nintendo games on your Nintendo system again, like the Wii U.
Yeah.
Now, what that tells me and what that makes me worry about right now, as good as Zelda is, and that's months of entertainment, is like, are we going to run into that thing again where I play it for a few months and then I don't play it for 3 months or 4 months? And then I got
to... too. Because do we even have a release date of Mario Kart? It says to be decided right now. So does that mean, is it coming out in April?
It's in May.
I mean,
is it May?
The old Mario Kart, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this isn't Mario Kart. Switch,
no, I know exactly.
I can completely argue for the idea of releasing that game again. Only 13 million possible people were able to play that game. It's the best Mario Kart game ever
made. Yeah.
And now you can play it anywhere, and you can pass a controller to somebody else and have.
But that's not a tent pole, right? That's not a tent pole. And I know that. Typically in launch windows and over the first year or so.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if we're going to get a Mario and a Zelda within the first year, which we should be, unless Mario gets pushed back, that's great. And I don't mean to kind of just badmouth it for that. My concern again is that I just don't feel, based on all the reveals we've seen, based on the partners that have lined up, that the games that generally people want to play, other than those Nintendo games, are going to appear here. And I feel like Nintendo can't keep forcing themselves out of that and closing their garden. And I mean,
it won't be the indie games that sell this machine. You're absolutely correct.
Or buoy it for 5 years. Yeah. And I think, Vic, it's a good system, but I don't think it's a good ecosystem. I don't think Nintendo has built yet. I mean, look, it launched without any sort of online network that works in any meaningful way. You and I are friends. Yeah. I can't do anything with you. We can't chat. We can't message
again, friend codes once again. I cannot believe that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, what are the steps that they now have to do to kind of show they've got the machine out, and that's not easy. Every system launches hot. Yeah. Every system has problems when these things come out.
That's right.
So they got it out. So now what does Nintendo have to do to keep momentum? Because I think there's probably terrific momentum right now. I think there's a lot of excited people that are trying desperately to find one of these things. And I think there's a lot of people ripping into Zelda on the Switch that are freaking out because this shows what the machine is capable of. But what does Nintendo have to do to get everybody else?
Steady releases.
Is it just games? Is it just steady releases?
Good first-party titles and third-party titles. And that's where they lost in the Wii U. They had no third-party. It was just them making games and always apologizing that their games are going to be delayed another month or two.
Yeah.
So there was nothing to play at times. There was
Is it third-party games that are also available for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, or is it third-party games?
Both. Just as much gaming as possible. Put as many games on your machine as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Do conversions. Do whatever. Do anything you can, but bring out a bunch of games because that's why I'm saying we're just kind of waiting for Mario Kart, and that's in May.
Right.
We got Splatoon 2 as well. But I mean,
that's summer.
If you look back on, there was an infographic that I was going around on the internet that I was checking out that was fascinating to me that showed the kind of sales degradation of Nintendo consoles from the NES to now. And if you look at that, it's like a mountain range, right? It starts off with the NES selling this many, and then the SNES this, and then it's going down the entire way until we get to the Wii, where it spikes. And now it's all the way back down. The Wii managed to do that not because of anything other than Wii Sports. Wii Sports was a pack-in. It was a toy. The whole Wii was a toy. Everyone bought it because they wanted to have this with their grandma.
Yeah, and
that's how they moved those units.
Nobody bought games on that, though. That was the problem. The machine sold well, but
Right.
that was the only game that most people bought.
So I feel like that's an outlier. The Wii was an outlier in what's been a long history of Nintendo struggling to regain their third-party relationships that built their NES and SNES lives for a long time, and that all fell apart over that N64, GameCube, and stuff. And I feel like they haven't done anything to right that ship. So I agree. We need to see third-party, not just games that are exclusive to the system. We need to see games that aren't exclusive to the system. We need to see brands and franchises that people are excited about, not just appearing on other consoles. Like, you just feel like if you buy a Nintendo system now, well, you're just at their beck and call. You're at their whim, and you're not free anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, more gaming, more games. But I'm just going to switch the subject a little bit because I think this will be a little bit of fun. Horizon Zero Dawn has come out. Mm-hmm. One hell of an open world game, an incredible game, and then all of a sudden Zelda. Is it a week later?
The same week.
Same week.
February 20th, the Monday or Tuesday and Friday.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Zelda comes out, an incredible open world Zelda game. And people, I think there's a thing, everybody wants to debate it.
Yeah.
Which one is better? And I would start, like to say starting off is that I don't even want to compare them. They're two different worlds. I think Zelda has a lot more humor in it than, say, Horizon. That's the only difference that I can really say. Obviously, the gameplay and all of that, but if they're two very different games.
Well,
they offer you very, Horizon's very serious. Zelda's very lighthearted and
because of its sort of cartoony overtones.
Cartoony, yes, exactly.
But I think there are some interesting characters like Nil that in Horizon that do have a sense of comedy, and they're well written, and there's some good dialogue. I just think it's an unbelievably profound accomplishment that Guerrilla Games shipped a game that is in the same conversation as Breath of the Wild. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's not to be taken lightly. There's nothing that company has ever done before that has shown that they could build a game of that caliber. And frankly, it is an apt comparison with Breath of the Wild, which is a clearing of the slate.
Well, everybody's talking about it. Everybody's putting them in the same breath, no pun intended.
Yeah, and
it's funny because I think it's a jarring switch. I mean, I had to review Horizon, and then literally like moments after finishing the game, my Switch arrived and started playing Zelda, and like that is a hard switch because they're both open world games, but Horizon is like chaos, getting into these fights with these robotic dinosaurs, and you got these bow and arrows, and you're quick switching on the fly and recrafting and doing all this shit, and you're just like and you kill these things, and you just like eat all their shit and take all their resources, run off and find another one, and it's so just gritty, and you're fighting, and it's got this crazy sci-fi story that's so well told, and it's kind of washing over you. And then you get to Zelda, and the first like 4 hours, you're just kind of like hopping around, like, oh, there's a goblin, and you whack him once, and you don't really get to the meat of that combat until kind of a long way into Zelda. So at first I was like, Zelda's never going to stack up to Horizon because Horizon's just so kinetic. But the longer you play Zelda, the more you start to get into that combat. That is a hard game. There is difficult combat. There is hard scenarios against different enemies that require different strategies. They're totally different games. I would never want to try to say get this one or that one. Luckily, they're on two different systems, so you're buying into the system as much as you're buying the game. Yeah. But I would say the one thing that stands out to me a little bit about Horizon, you talked earlier about some of the frame rate problems in Zelda. As much as Zelda, I think, is a real beauty because of its sort of art style, I am continually sort of overwhelmed by Horizon's look. Like when you're standing on the precipice of one of those, it's just it is breathtaking. That's just kind of more impressive, kind of vibrant technology in a way.
Its details. There's so much,
more power.
Yeah, more powers on the Pro playing.
But
it's unreal.
The foliage moving in the wind and sun glares,
the waterfalls,
and things like
that.
And also all of this ornate detail in all the buildings and everything that the Switch is just not capable of rendering that much detail. And it was smart of the Zelda designers to kind of go into this more animation kind of flow and style, and it makes the game look like art.
Let me say, when I first was over here and I saw Breath of the Wild, I didn't say anything to anybody.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it looks really jaggy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I didn't really like the look of it too much.
Right.
And then it wasn't until a couple days later I was playing it on my own, sitting there having my own time with it. 2 hours in, I'm like, this is an incredible, beautiful looking game.
Yeah.
It kind of needs to, I said it online, it needs to wash over you a little bit.
It's-
the graphical style
It's so
of
smart
the Switch.
because
yeah.
you can see that it's just not as textured. It's not as
Yeah, of
detailed as some of the modern Xbox One and PS4 titles out there.
Yeah.
But what is textured and detailed and reflected and you get lens flares and things like that. All of the stuff that is there is so clever and gorgeous, and it feels like art. It feels like artists really just labored to build something that made you stop and you had to experience.
You have to experience it. Like, I would see gameplay videos and I was like, okay, that looks cool. But it's not until you're playing it and you're doing the game itself and it washes over you. As I say, with the graphical stuff, that's what allows me to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, this is gorgeous. Like, put it this way. My wife comes home yesterday. I'm playing the Switch and I'm playing Zelda, and she walks in and she sits down. She's like, oh, this is cool. Sits down. And then she just kind of gets up and walks away. I'm like, what do you think? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what's up? She's like, well, the graphics don't look good. I said, don't worry. I said, that's what I thought when I first started playing. Give it a bit of time.
Yeah. Well, there's also a lot more systems, I think, in Zelda than in Horizon. I think there's a lot of little layers going on, and weird, wacky characters that like need you to get drinks for them or teach them songs, or finding the Koroks, these little creatures that give you these Korok seeds that you can trade. It's always delightful, and you don't know where they're going to be.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things that I noticed is, like, you lift up a rock and you find one, and then you put it. I've mistakenly just dropped the rock on him, and he goes, "Ow!" And it's just like little
There's
bits.
charm. There's a little charm in
all
there.
Scattered throughout this thing that you don't expect, and that's the stuff that gets you.
Yes.
I mean, Zelda is a world of secrets, and it's always been that kind of game. And Horizon is not. Horizon is a world with one big secret, right? And you're trying to unravel it through the story. Zelda's story, I think, I'm not as far in as you, Victor, and I've not finished the game, so I can't speak too much of it, and I obviously don't want to have any spoilers, but that's not what's gripping me. That's not what's driving me forward. It's the world that's driving me forward, just going to places and trying to get around and climb up some mountain I couldn't get up. So it's a lot more of that open world Skyrim feel as opposed to Horizon, where I was really like, I want to get to the next quest point because I'm dying to find out what's going on with this world.
Plus, you're such a badass in Horizon, and you're not really a badass as Link in this game. You are very fragile.
Well, to begin with,
you're right. Like, the weather fucks you up, and
it's not a
you
power
can't find
fantasy.
things. You're slipping off stuff.
It's not a power fantasy. I mean, Horizon reminds me a lot of Shadow of Mordor, which I think is one of the closest games for me.
Sure.
Which is like all about acquiring power and getting stronger and getting more badass and kicking the shit out of things. And Zelda's not about that. You happen to have to do that, and you do have that sense of satisfaction, but it's totally different. My question, though, to you guys, here's my question to you guys. But again, we keep falling into talking about Zelda, but
Can't help it.
Yeah.
so it's a system seller. It's going to sell millions of these things. I don't know, 10, 15, who knows how many systems
Wouldn't it be
they're going to
hilarious
sell.
if there was a Wii U bump?
Yeah, right.
Well, hey, to be honest, one of my friends who does not own any Nintendo systems, he's like, I'm going to buy a used Wii U and buy Zelda.
Well,
it's a smart thing.
I read something on Twitter today that the Wii U is the best Zelda machine, because if you want the best Zelda machine, you got all of the Zeldas pretty much on that platform now.
Yeah, it's true. But my question to you is, it's selling these systems, right? So people are going to have their Switches, they're going to play their Zelda. Do you feel like it's empty beyond? Because I feel like the system is sort of, it's empty.
Yeah,
there's something about the experience of the OS that's empty.
This is what I wanted to talk about, because what does Nintendo have to do now? And there's hints of a subscription service. There's hints of, like a flood of virtual console. When we were at GDC, Blake and I were talking about this, and he said, why don't they just release all of the Nintendo virtual console games? Why aren't they all there?
Why weren't they there?
Well, and I think this was my thought, okay? And you feel free to disagree and talk about this, but my thinking is they don't have enough of these to satisfy the demand at launch, and they know that very well, because that's sort of their model. They like to not have enough of them to create news and buzz about the machines, but they also don't want to be in a surplus situation where they're having to buy that stock back or trying to hide it somewhere if it's sitting on store shelves. and because that doesn't look good for the long term. So I think they have probably, and this is just total conjecture. I'm not a marketer. I don't understand any of this stuff. I don't really want to think like that. But when I do put that tinfoil hat on and start thinking about it, I feel like Nintendo has got a series of launches tied to this machine. And one of them is going to be the way that Virtual Console is distributed to everybody. I think that Nintendo would be incredibly foolish to, bring all of these accounts together, which is one of the things that the Switch does allow you to do, is to import accounts you've created on 3DS and Wii U to this platform. If they don't do something to placate customers of earlier software that will now be Virtual Console playable again on the Switch, that is a huge missed opportunity. They should do something. I don't know what it is. Maybe like...
But they always start again on every machine, pretty much.
They have to change that message.
Well, they do, but they probably won't.
But if they do, that's a huge launch.
Yeah, Victor, that's a huge but. And I think that you are...
I'm optimistic.
I think we all, somewhere along the way, had a love affair with Nintendo. I don't know what system it was for you. You're watching this.
Still ongoing.
I know. Whether it's still there or not, but someone fell in love with an SNES or an NES or an N64 or game, whatever your thing is, right? Everyone has that. And so you're always sort of rooting for this company, maybe the most important company in the history of video games. I argued that in my review. I think in many ways they are. They saved it, right?
Absolutely they are.
But here's the thing. They stopped being consumer friendly a while ago. And I think there's no reason for them to suddenly come back. Now, I think they should, but if you look at the pricing of these games, if you look at no pack-in for their system, if you look at what they're doing with 1-2 Switch, this does not speak of a company that is looking out for getting its consumers everything they want and everything they need right when they want it, because we don't have an online network. This is I want to remind you how important that is. In 2006, when the Wii launched...
You can play online and you can buy stuff online.
Yeah, but dude, that's a 2006 thing, right? Yeah. When the Wii launched in 2006 or whenever, it was okay because that they didn't have a network, because we were just seeing Xbox and Sony, Microsoft and Sony, start to build theirs. We are 10 years now down in that line. Every system, every device you have is connecting to something. Everything you own gives you achievements for something. If you fucking turn on a Fitbit, you're getting achievements for doing something in the world. Nintendo is so far behind the curve on this that there's no excuse for them to launch a system without having some way to tie people together, to connect people to party. I can't play a game with you, Vic. We can't. I can jump into one of your games. We can't be a party and hop around. We can't message each other. We can't speak to each other. We can't capture a video and share it with one another. You can't even tell me your name. You have to tell me a 12-digit string of numbers so I can find you online. These
I agree with everything you said. I'll say yes. Yes.
So let's just back off this idea that Nintendo is thinking, how can we make everything great for our consumers? Because I don't think they're thinking that. And their actions based on what we're seeing around this console, it's just not there for me, man.
If they don't do that, though, what's going to happen to the Switch? And what's going to happen to Nintendo?
It's going to do a little better than the Wii U, and that'll probably be that. Yeah. I think,
and do you think Nintendo would be satisfied with that? Because I don't think so. I think they are pivoting, and they're trying. Just the sheer fact that they can collapse their portable and their console hardware divisions into one focused thing is a big deal. The mobile sort of directions that they've been going in is another big deal that sort of speaks to them trying to bring their stuff to many, many more people. This is a mobile platform as well, and it will likely be enabled to play Super Mario Run and the Fire Emblem game. I actually had this crazy discovery, and I don't know if this is just total conspiracy theory stuff today, but I tweeted a picture out of the Switch, and Twitter thought that I tweeted it through Safari when I looked at the Twitter info in there. And I don't know what the hell that meant at all, but I just thought that was completely weird.
That's
right?
Strange, yeah.
But it's supposed to be an Android platform at its core, right? So there is going to be more functionality and more stuff sort of implemented into this thing. We know that. We just don't know how far along it's going to go. And, let's say they do build this online network and it does come out at the price point that they've sort of alluded to, which is half the price of the other guys, that's going to be a pretty nice thing to announce and to launch.
So are they going to wait till E3 before they announce any new games?
Well, this is
this is the problem. They need to announce more games.
Well, they just announced every week at
some
GDC.
indie games. But big Nintendo like Metroid and like Famicom Wars or something like that, Advance Wars. Like bring something like that back and just blast us with it. Just say this is coming out. This is coming out.
Yeah.
That's what they need. Or it's going to be exactly as Ben said. It's going to be the Wii U again.
I think that they're being smarter with it. I think they're going to have a series of big launch announcements to make this machine more robust. I really hope so too, because I think that if they don't do that, and if they aren't thinking that, and if they aren't pivoting to be more consumer friendly, they're screwed.
Yeah.
They're going to have a lot of issues with this, because there are hardware issues that they need to address already, which kind of always happens with new consumer tech in most cases. There's always something that is a quibble for other people, especially when they're innovating.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
Can't come out with their big games every 3 months.
No,
that's like for a year. That's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, Victor, there's a hardware issue they have to attend to, there's a software issue they have to attend to, and there's a network issue they have to attend to. Those are 3 big parts of a system. That's the system. So it's a funny one, right? I do really genuinely like playing this thing, and I really like this one game. If Zelda wasn't here, though,
whoa!
If there was no Zelda,
whoa! Yeah, that's like a
you just blew John's mind.
Yeah, that's like a Keanu Reeves moment. Whoa!
Right? But think about that. Yeah. I mean, remove Zelda. We're not playing Zelda. Now what are we talking about?
Yeah.
That's the Wii U, buddy. It's got this one pillar, this
app.
Gorgeous, incredible killer app. It's fucking Halo.
Yeah.
It's Super Mario Brothers. It's Tetris. It's whatever you want to be as the great launch games.
Yeah.
But beyond it, it's just one problem after another. And that's the stuff that scares me, because I have faith that Nintendo is going to deliver other great games. They had good games for the Wii U. There are good games in that library.
Absolutely.
But it was all the other stuff that sunk them. And they need to find a way to rectify that. And they had an opportunity to do that with their first impression. They've had years since the Wii U launched, 4 years to figure out how to build Xbox Live or PSN. Why haven't they built PSN? Jesus, I mean, it's been 4 years, man. And
they bought DNA, right? And they made all of these sweeping announcements that they were taking, accounts and internet connectivity a lot more serious. Honestly, they're going to have a huge launch. They're going to sell out, and Zelda's going to be a phenomenon.
Yeah.
But if they don't have answers at E3 or
sooner
they
need
E3.
Answers sooner.
I think E3 is kind of like the line in the sand, right? Yeah. Like if it doesn't happen by then, there's going to be some real terror about what the future for this machine is,
And that's what makes it hard to recommend, and that's I think where we're all a little freaked out, right? Like you want to tell everybody to buy a Switch and play Zelda because you love the Switch and the Zelda you're playing. I mean, you talked earlier about the Pro Controller, which is unequivocally the best way to play Zelda, but now you're looking at an American $430 investment.
Yeah.
To play Legend of Zelda with a Pro Controller.
Well, these things are always expensive, though, right? Like when the PlayStation 4 came out, you would want another controller to play with your friend, and you'd want a game, so you'd be up to $500.
Right. It's a real conversation that a lot of people aren't having. They're just talking about how great Zelda is, and it's awesome. But there's a financial reality for people.
This is a luxury item, especially at launch. I'm not gonna go up and down and be too much about the pricing on this. It would have been awesome if our dollars were at par and the Switch came out at $300 up here, because $400 is kind of
and that Pro Controller is $89 Canadian.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys should move to the U.S. The U.S. is awesome these days. There's no problems here. Super welcoming. We love having people from other countries.
We'll be down in 5 minutes.
Yeah. We love other countries, people from all over. Just come right
on down? Is that what you're saying?
We'll get rid of our healthcare here and we'll go on down. That sounds like a good idea.
Come on down. Don't register. Just start buying up shit. We love it.
We'll just hop the wall. We'll be there in a minute.
Just rack up credit card debt.
It's great. It's our favorite thing.
So Are you guys optimistic or not optimistic? Are you sort of in the middle, or
It's a rocky start for sure.
Yeah.
Rocky start. Everything that Ben said. There's no network going on.
Yeah.
You sent me a friend request today with that damn code.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
We're still doing that.
I know.
Until they announce their online system.
It's like strings with cups still.
That's exactly what it's like. That's exactly.
Sir,
what
I
it's
couldn't. When you sent me a friend request today, I couldn't go into the system and like just bring up a little chat box and be like, "Awesome, hey Vic, I texted you like, thanks man, on my phone." Like,
Right, yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah. There's no communication.
Yeah.
Until they do their app or whatever on my phone, which
Yes.
is
And it's a mobile device, so it already looks like a phone. It looks like we could talk already, but you can't talk to anybody right now.
the only one we're talking to is Zelda. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you think Nintendo knew that? And they said that's good enough? I mean, obviously...
I think they just said, let's get the hardware out, and we'll get the software shit down later.
Okay,
it seems they rushed it out.
Well, I mean, they didn't rush Zelda out.
No.
They could have... I think it's like getting it out for the financial quarter.
Yeah.
Right? Because they had nothing in the pipeline for Wii U. That was it after this. So they got to kill that machine. And it's a good sign. It's a good send-off for the people that were loyalists and had that. It's like, okay, we got the best game for the machine at the very end. That's nice. Mm-hmm. But they had to come out with this. And do you think that they justified the lack of all of these things that we're complaining about with the fact that people would just be dumbfounded, at least this initial launch group, by Zelda?
It feels like Hocus Pocus, man. I mean, I like the game. It's great, but this feels like Hocus Pocus. Like this video game they've been developing for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
And they needed to stop that, and they needed to start getting their money back. And I think that the combination of the money they were pouring into making it, the combination of the money they weren't making with the Wii U, 3DS sales are also stagnating a little bit. They got a bump out of Pokemon. Pokemon was great, a great boon for them last year, but I think they knew they weren't going to sustain that. And I think really this came down to like, we got to get this thing out. We got to get back into this game if we're going to do it.
Okay.
And even though shit isn't ready, they're like, we know we have good hardware and we got one good game. Let's do it.
And you know, that's something that I think we need to talk about too, though. Do you guys believe in this hardware? Is it proving itself as hardware? Is this something that you would like to see more types of games on, and what kinds of games?
Sure, I'd like to see more Virtual Console. I like the portability. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I just want to see the Virtual Console on it. I want to be able to take Neo Geo games on the go.
Right.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would love that.
I'd like to see Street Fighter V on this. I'd like to see
something like that. Well, that's PlayStation exclusive, but
I asked Warner Brothers about Injustice 2. I mean, that would be a great game to walk around.
Hey, look at all those third-party games you guys just mentioned. I mean, that's the story, right? I think it's a cool idea. It's a cool device. It feels, I got a case for it. It's another thing. Sadly, it didn't come with its own case. It's supposed to be portable, no case. So you have to spend $30 extra on that or whatever. But like, I had it in my bag, took it out of my bag, played it on an airplane. It looked way better than a 3DS. It looked way better than just about anything I've ever looked at on a plane. That was cool. But faith in the hardware means faith in the software. The two go hand in hand. So
the operating software and also the game software
and all of the software. Hardware is only as good as the software. You could have the world's best piece of hardware, and if you have nothing to do with it, it's a piece of shit. It's a brick. So that's my fear, and I don't think they started off on the right foot to make me go, oh, I feel totally satisfied that there's just going to be tons of great games.
You're right in the sense that the Vita is an excellent machine.
Yeah. Excellent machine, right?
It's an excellent machine with loads of great indie titles and great RPGs and things, but that sort of thirst for AAA on that system and the output for AAA is dead, right? It's that exciting kind of thing that really keeps you magnetically attracted to it. One of the things that I thought about with the Switch while we were at GDC was that I almost bought one of those Microsoft Surface tablets that could run Windows 10 on it just to be a Steam machine to play indie games. And I didn't end up doing that because I already had the iPad and it would have just been superfluous. But I think that this satisfies that need for portable, escapes into kind of retro-looking games and lots of indie types of games. But that's not going to sell to many people. That's going to sell
It's
to
a very
me,
niche thing, yeah.
right?
Hardcores,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
But that's what worries me. This machine right now is only for hardcores.
Yeah.
Quite literally, anybody who wants Zelda. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of people who do not like Zelda.
And that's what Nintendo has got. That's the door they've opened for their company and their business. Is they've reached out to everyone, and everyone has a connection to Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And this isn't the Nintendo Switch for everyone yet.
Not yet.
Well, they haven't led with. I mean, they haven't really led with Zelda. I mean, we know about Zelda, and we all love Zelda. And at trade shows, at E3, when they're preaching to their choir, they show off Zelda. Mm-hmm. When they're trying to sell the system, they show 1-2 Switch.
Right.
They have been jonesing for that sweet blue ocean we hit that they haven't had in a long time. They are like fucking junkies. You can see them just like 1-2 Switch. You're in a party.
You can't blame them.
They're still going for it. Yep. So I think they're still aiming for that. I don't think they're aiming for another Metroid, and I think they're aiming for like, how can we get Grandma playing again? And like that ship has sailed,
but it ain't 1-2 Switch.
Ubisoft is making serious bank on that Just Dance game. They keep coming out with these things.
I know.
You feel like people would exhaust that, but they have them on every platform, and they make them every year. So there's also that awareness, I think, at Nintendo, is that, wait a second, you can, because this 1-2 Switch looks like a Ubisoft game, right? Mm-hmm. It looks like a derivation of Just Dance in a lot of ways. So I'm sure Nintendo saw that and said, well, we can't make Wii Sports sort of right now. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Maybe
they're looking at it the first year, just get the machine out, we'll release some games, and then we'll build the software. We'll keep building. It feels like it's not finished.
Yeah. And, like when the Xbox 360 launched, it was not finished, But it's been 10 years since then. So Nintendo had a lot to learn to be able to have this be something that we were all unequivocally just ecstatic about. Now, I am ecstatic about it because I've been lost in the Zelda world. I've been on a plane with it. I love the way it looks on my 4K TV.
Yeah.
All of these things, these check boxes, the nerd things that I want out of this have been great. I don't mind so much that I'm not chatting with people online. I think it's crazy that we're not doing that, but there isn't the software that makes me want to do that. If that stuff isn't happening by the time Splatoon 2 comes out, that's a real problem.
Yeah, I think it will
right?
at that point.
Or Mario Kart. If we don't have some kind of great...
There has to be.
Some kind of way to, sort of poke fun at our buddies while we're playing and beating them up with turtle shells.
Victor, I am in the Espuertas now. I write about the Espuertas. I am the Espuertas man. And something similar happened with Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V launched early so that they could get it in the hands of the pro circuit, right? They wanted to launch the Capcom Pro Tour. They wanted to get all the teams and players and start moving this thing forward. They launched it without a story mode. They launched it without... Really wasn't ready for prime time. Now, the core gameplay was good. People liked the way it looked. It was fun to play, but it was just missing all these features.
Yeah.
They never really recovered.
No,
the game never really recovered.
Yeah.
So I am also, as an Espuertas man, a little like, this reminds me a little bit of that. Like, let's just get the thing out and then fix the shit up. But like, you have one chance. You have one chance to blow people away.
Yeah, and the original Xbox you could point to as well, right? That didn't get Xbox Live until year 2 or something like that. The first Halo wasn't an online game, and they started to add great features, but it was sort of trickled in,
Right, and what saved the Xbox...
PlayStation 3, I went through so many revisions, right?
And what saved the Xbox 360 back in the day from that god-awful launch is how huge it became with third parties. It became the de facto third-party video game machine. Like, journalists, we always have to decide, okay, am I going to play it on this or this, or what version are companies sending me? They sent us Xbox 360 games.
Right, and that's happening on the PS4 now for us.
The PS4 now has become the de facto main kind of system, and that's why it's... So, I don't think
it's
smart
for Nintendo not to play that game though, right? Because that's a 2-horse thing, right? The eeny meeny. Smart for them.
I don't think they have the
that.
money to be able to compete.
But now they're different, right? So now,
But being different is easier because when you don't have enough money, like I'll just be alternative. I'll be goth. Then. You know what I mean? I can't compete with the jocks. I'll just be goth and be all emo in the corner.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's cheaper to be goth.
Yeah,
they
wear black and one color.
They got to deliver the good goth games.
Yeah.
They got to keep that sort of.
They need some good clothing. Yeah, they need to.
Salt and Sanctuary. Salt and Sanctuary.
I saw Kotaku sort of said to their readership that they recommend if you're on the fence to just wait.
It's a good thing. You have to say
it's a safe thing, but the thing that I thought was like, who's ever reading Kotaku is a video game nut bar, and they are definitely going to want this thing.
I mean, like really, any hardcore fan of Zelda, it'd be impossible for you to resist.
Absolutely.
But then again, you could get on the Wii U and say, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah.
And that's a great, smart thing to do.
And you can almost gloat about that if you get it for the Wii U, right? You can almost say, "Well, I saved myself some
emo."
money."
No, that's a brilliant thing to do.
Yeah.
Like my good friend Andrew, he's getting on the Wii U. He's buying a used Wii U to do this.
Yeah,
it's a smart plan.
Yeah,
and he's going to play all the Wii U games he's never played. There's a lot of great games.
Yeah.
It's hard to recommend a $360 video game. It's just hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a rad video game, but it's a $360 one, and I until I know where it's going, it's super hard to tell people to buy in. You don't buy a system, you buy an ecosystem, and that ecosystem's not set up yet.
What would have blown you away if had Nintendo delivered that at launch? Like what would it have been that?
That's easy to say, isn't it?
Like Mario at launch.
Do you know what? Having a Mario and a Zelda, an online system, and a great virtual console win. Yeah. They would have won at that point for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. That would have been over-delivering, and that would have been amazing. I think if they bundled it with Zelda, which would have been crazy, but they could have. I think if they bundled 1-2 Switch and that was just in every system, even though I don't like the game, then had Zelda as a package as well.
Yeah. And they're the masters of these selling you consoles again just by bundling the game with a version of, like, if there was a Hyrule version of the Switch, that would have been huge too, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Right? We would have been flipping out like crazy, even if it had the same functionality. We are in that camp that's telling Nintendo how to run their business, and
we say we should start a podcast called "What Nintendo Should Do" podcast?
Yeah,
because that's what we all do. Everybody does online says what Nintendo should be doing.
I know,
because we're so frustrated that they're not doing it.
Well, we want a lot more from them. You know, even though we have probably the best game you can play,
we want more, damn it.
I
know.
It is a crazy thing.
I am very satisfied with Zelda. I mean, I'm not kidding you. It feels like this is a game made for me.
And it also feels really special to play it on new hardware, too. As great as it is that it's out for the Switch or for the Wii U, it's awesome to play it on the new machine.
They also have this tendency to play out their fuck-ups in real time, whereas I think other companies tend to course correct maybe before they get into too much shit. Like, this reminds me of the Xbox One thing from E3 where it was always online, and then Sony came out and said ours isn't always going to be always online. You can take it offline and be fine. And there are these big companies throwing haymakers at each other, but this was 8 months or 6 months before the systems came out. So like by the time the Xbox One came out, they had solved a lot of the problems because they had sort of market tested those ideas.
Yeah.
And they got so much feedback that they were like, we hear you. We are now doing this.
You're
Nintendo isn't listening to fucking anyone. So we can all yell at them.
What it is, I think, Ben, you hit the nail on the head with the idea that the innards, when you turn it on, it's sleek, but it does feel empty.
There's nothing in it.
Yeah, and not only is there not a lot of software to download, but there isn't any of that sort of, and I think this was on purpose, obviously, but I think that a lot of that sort of Nintendo charm is missing too from when you turn it on, little sounds and music and things that you would kind of associate that sort of flesh out, like the Mi Plaza and all the stuff that you get when you open up a 3DS, And I think this was a deliberate attempt to not make this a children's console right out of the gate, which is cool, but we're missing a little of that Nintendo soul.
Yeah.
From the absence of that a little.
I got to tell you, I went to EB Games this morning to get the Master Edition and a Pro Controller and some Amiibos. And it was really funny. So I get there in the line. I'm like number 7 in the line. 15 people come behind me. And so I start talking to a bunch of guys in front of me. And they're all like, everybody in the line is like 22.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to this guy, and I said, oh, how old are you guys? And they're like, oh, we're 23 and all that. Oh, that's cool. And they're like, oh, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 43. I was like, I felt like this crazy old man. It was like so funny. And they're like, oh, shit, you don't look 43. I'm like, well, I don't feel 43. But then I was like, yeah, I'm the oldest person in this lineup.
Wow.
And it was interesting.
Well, that's sweet music to Nintendo's ears, because if it's anybody that's going to be, giving up on Nintendo, it's the young people that have moved on to tablet games and other hardware.
Everybody was playing games on their phones, as they waited to get in line. That says something, too. But we get in, and this is where the 43-year-old man got something that everybody didn't get.
Yeah.
I went up. When I pre-ordered my Switch like 2 months ago, I got the Masters Edition.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 per EB, basically.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So they put this huge black box on the counter, and everybody in the lineup was like, what is that? I'm like, that is mine. The old man is going home. I'm retiring. See ya, folks. And I was gone, but that was a little funny thing in EB this morning. I was the youngest person. Oh, sorry, the oldest person. I was trying to do reverse psychology there.
Yeah.
I was the youngest guy there. But that was interesting in line. But there's a lot of people.
Does that Master Collection, because I didn't get one of those Nintendo. No, I'm not going to.
No, I don't think they handed them to anybody.
No, they didn't, of course. But does that bring a whole bunch of the Nintendo soul to the Switch?
I at home right now on the table.
Yeah.
There's the Master Edition. There's the regular game, the Amiibos, the strategy guide. I like Zelda so much that to me it's nice to have this little collection there.
For sure, yeah.
I got my Breath of the Wild collection because I'll say, do you think this, Ben, that in history we'll look back in this moment and go, Breath of the Wild, what an incredible game. Like being up there with Ocarina of Time. I think so. I think this is that moment, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is, again, clearly a top launch game ever and maybe the best Zelda. So, I mean, I think for sure this is a moment for this franchise. This is a moment for this company.
Yeah.
And I celebrate that, and I'm happy for them because they had very few of those moments for the Wii U. I mean, the Wii U launch had Nintendo Land, and we were like, shit, Zombie U. Didn't have anything like this. So, I went to the Zelda Escape Room that was down here not long ago, and just seeing sort of reminding myself of the love that everyone has for Zelda and this franchise, which meant a lot to me and is super cool. And I'm happy for them. I do feel very happy for them, and I love this game.
Yeah.
And what Victor brought up about sort of the lack of Nintendo in the Nintendo system, one thing that reminds me of that, I have the gray version.
Yeah.
And when this is all snapped together, it looks like a Sony handheld. It doesn't look like a Nintendo one. And so you get the one with the neon, and at least it feels like it's a little playful and colorful. I don't know if they know what they want this to be. Do they want this to be a mature system? Do they want this to be a Nintendo system? Are they going to just fall back on Nintendo franchise? It's hard to call it a mature system when we're going to be playing Donkey Kong and Metroid in the same 10 franchises.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think they want it to be the Nintendo iPad, I think they want it to be as ubiquitous as other machines out there, tablets and phones and things that we all have.
It is rather large, though. Let's be honest with you. Taking this around and, it's. I need a carrying case for it everywhere.
You got to put it in the satchel.
But it is the nicest handheld.
Yes.
If it launched in 2012, if this was the Wii U, this would be an awesome conversation. Yeah. I just think we're all a little
don't you wish
Jesus
this was a Wii U?
Yes.
Wouldn't that have been amazing?
That's what we thought the Wii U was going to be. Yeah.
And they've said as much. I mean, basically, they've said this is what we had sort of hoped. This is our evolution, and you're like,
get it right to begin with.
Hey, we've probably got a question or two. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, sorry. We can't see the chat over here.
Yeah, we've been lost in conversation, and this is new for us. We haven't done the two people in the studio and somebody external before. So
several people have asked about scratching the screen when you put it in the dock.
Right.
Great question.
I just heard about that today, and I have been taking it out of the dock a tremendous amount, but I haven't seen and putting it back in a tremendous amount. That's how you charge it. I haven't seen any
Okay,
scratches.
yeah, okay. But imagine you're 20 years old,
Yeah.
you're drinking,
Yeah.
okay, you got all your friends over, everybody's screwing around with the machine, and you say, hey, can you put it back in the door? Oh, yeah, I can't put it in, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I would trust anyone else to put it in
that's the thing.
besides me, and I'm pretty precise about the stuff that I have. It
Yeah, me
lasts
too.
longer that way.
Yeah, but you're gonna have you got to think about all the different people who are gonna play
I
this,
know.
and you sharing with your kids and all that.
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like slamming it in. It will scratch, and people are complaining that it is scratching.
and you will drop it too, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens now. Because this is an expensive thing to fall out of your hands.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, but it feels like that's unfair. Like, is it scratching? I mean, if the dock is scratching it because when you put it in, it just scratches it every time, that's one thing. I haven't experienced it at all, just to answer the question.
Have to put it in wrong to scratch
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I think one of the trade-offs with a great piece of hardware is you're super nervous about breaking your great piece of hardware. I mean, no one's carrying their brand new MacBook Pro, in a paper bag. I mean, like
I always admire people that like Casey Neistat on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever watched any of his stuff. I'm sure he gets it all for free, so he doesn't give a crap. But it's like, I can't be that way. I'm so nervous about dropping stuff.
Well,
but he just chucks it around.
When we first did the unboxing here, and you went to put it in the dock, you're like, oh wait, and you couldn't even get it right to begin with. Then you had played it before, and I thought, holy! And then remember you said put it in the dock, and I was scared to put it in the dock. I'm like, am I putting it backwards?
Well, the other thing that we did is we had I did this. So I had one of the Joy-Cons, and I put the
this is classic.
I put the little button. What are they called? What's the thing on top of the Joy-Con?
The side things that go on.
The thing that slaps on the top here. I put it in upside down, and it got stuck. And it got stuck on the thing, and I thought, oh my God, how do I get this? And I thought, all three of us thought that I had wedged it in, and it was not going to come off the thing.
That was a scary moment.
And it finally did, but
that's happened to a lot of people as well. That happened to Jay Hooft as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
He put it on wrong? Yeah, because it's all brand
new.
Well,
I think some he went, and it was already like that at some Nintendo event.
Oh wow,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there are going to be mishaps with this stuff for sure, but just to again answer the specific question. I think it's safe to say the three of us have not had any obvious scratching problems by putting it in the system. That being said, the dock and the handheld are not necessarily the best pair I've ever seen. You don't just go like, shaboom, it's perfect. You kind of drop it in, and it's a little bit jiggy. So it's a little bit weird.
Bit wobbly. It's wobbly in there.
It's not like and I'm picking it up again, it's not like the Joy-Cons and the machine, which actually are, I think, pretty solid. The button to unlock them is a little bit small. But sticking it on the machine is actually really sleek, and it fits. It just slides on the rail.
It was so funny, and I'm playing Zelda last night.
Yeah.
And I take them off the middle grip, and I'm trying to put it back onto the Switch, and I cannot see in the dark.
In the dark, yeah.
Yeah,
that's one thing about
how
all
do I get this,
consumer electronics.
Yeah.
The precision that it takes to
I need a light on.
To switch something in the back of a receiver or something like that, or on the back of your television.
Yep.
Everything's black.
Yep.
And you guys definitely sound like 43-year-olds now.
Hey, you watch yourself, Sonny.
Oh, it's so dark. I can't see anything.
I got my Master Edition, damn it.
But this is going to be one of those machines that you're going to be taking it off the dock and putting the Joy-Cons off, and if it's dark in your space, you're gonna.
It may sound such a small, silly thing to bring up, but I've had it happen a few times in the last few days. I'm like, oh damn, yeah. So that's why I'm glad I got the Pro controller now. Thank God for that.
I wonder if the kickstand is actually going to be something that there's going to be an aftermarket for, because apparently this thing, I haven't had it come off of this yet, but
it comes off.
Apparently, it can break off, and it does.
Well, the reason that happens, I think, is because the angle that this thing sits at, particularly if you're on an airplane. I tried this, Vic. I don't know if you tried it. I didn't write about it, but it doesn't seem like it's far back enough.
Yeah.
It feels like when you set it on an airplane, like on a tray, it's like this.
Right, almost.
So you kind of have to. You got to do this to see what the hell's happening. I think people are kind of pulling it back, going, "Oh, I should be able to put it."
You can't. Yeah, you can't position it the way that you want for you.
It's not long enough.
Yeah, it's sort of like It's binary. It's closed or it's open.
Yep.
And the open isn't open enough, so I think people might be pulling that thing out,
Right.
trying to really get it flatter. And so I think it's just sort of a minor
So
design
I am
flaw.
wondering if that doesn't sort of create an opportunity for a third-party company to create a cool sort of
Oh my
cantilever
God.
metal one.
Yeah.
Can't wait, man! I can't wait to slap a bunch of third-party shit
I was just
all
about to
over
say,
my-
we'll put a light on there, and, magnifying glass, double the size of your Switch. That'd be ridiculous. That's all we need.
Any other questions, Blake?
Yeah, a couple other people
Okay.
were asking about, apparently on the internet, it's going around the left controller doesn't connect properly.
Yeah.
Yep, that's happened to me.
Yeah.
It's happened to me all week.
Yeah.
Like I'll be playing Zelda. I'll have this on the grip.
Yeah.
I'll grab me the other one there.
Yep.
So I'm playing, and I'm going straight up, and then all of a sudden I stop, but my character keeps going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And it's happened so many unusual times. I get the Pro Controller, don't have the same thing. Or, I start getting the light going on, showing that it's not connected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
so
like,
there's
seriously, it's happened to me numerous times, and I wish it wasn't a thing. I can't believe that they would launch. I hope it's only early
hope,
units.
I hope that they can repair that. I don't know how they can.
It's not. It's also not a left Joy-Con specific thing.
It's both of them, yeah.
The reason
Wait,
why
it's
it feels
because
like
you're
it's the
covering it
left
up,
is
right?
because you're moving. No, it's because you're
the one
moving.
you're using the most.
Yes.
That's the one you're going to
Yeah.
notice it on.
So it's because this is motion, because you're always moving your character with the left one. It feels
Yes.
like when it breaks. But I tried this, and you can try this if you own a Switch at home. You go to the calibration screen where you can calibrate your little Joy-Cons. And when you're calibrating it, there's actually a video online that shows you about this. But if you cover it up, or if you move it around to
saw
certain
it too.
areas, for me, if I bring it too far down, for me, it kept happening. I cross my legs when I play. You can't see that. Hang on. I'm like, when I go over the other, and I hold the controllers kind of lower on my lap, and it just kept breaking because it was too low. So if I lift my hands up, suddenly it was working fine. But it's both controllers. It seems for me to be specifically when it's in the dock. When it's on a kickstand, it hasn't happened, and when it's obviously slid into the system as a handheld, it's never happened at all.
No.
So I don't know if it's an issue with like the dock itself doing something to interfere with that signal, or if when
I'm
it's in the
so
dock.
close to it too, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
so
something
close.
going on, and at least 50% of the people I've spoken to have experienced it.
Yeah, it's kind of widespread. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's
And
not-
some
It's
people
a huge
have
number.
never experienced it.
Right.
So why all hardware is the same?
I mean, this stuff is hard to manufacture.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Is there another question or
Yeah,
two?
people want to know if you guys have tasted the cartridges.
No, I don't want to. Hey, it's so funny when we opened it up. I made a joke about that.
Yeah.
I didn't really realize there's a whole thing that the cartridges taste gross.
I think it's smart as hell. Nintendo doesn't want kids eating the
but
cartridges.
I like eating cartridges.
I've been eating
damn it, I was
cartridges
ruining
since
everything
the
for me.
Atari 2600, man. I was eating cartridges
Come
before
on.
Jeff.
John,
Before
go
Jeff,
on, I
Jeff
dare you to
fucking
lick it.
Gersman.
I'm not licking it. Do you want to do it?
No
you can,
fucking way.
It's my cartridge. You can lick it.
No, I ain't doing that.
Here, let me pull it out. You
No,
can lick it.
this ain't happening
Hold
here.
on here. I'll just whip it out, and
Yeah.
then you can lick it.
I'm not licking that
No?
fucking thing.
Okay,
I
all right.
tasted it and they are pretty good.
Oh,
No.
good. We have
Okay.
somebody's done it over here.
Blake,
How was it?
Blake is fearless.
Pretty bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did it taste like?
I don't know, just sort of like.
It tastes like raisins.
Something you don't want to eat.
It tastes like Black Death.
That's funny.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Portal player wants to know if you prefer TV or handheld mode.
I'm totally on the TV.
TV, for,
Yeah,
Pro
yeah.
Controller,
Yeah.
console, Zelda.
Well, wait a minute. But one thing I would like to point out, I don't know if you guys feel this way, the graphics look a little better when you're on the tablet.
They do.
It's a little
Well,
tighter.
yeah, I mean, it shrinks the pixels and the resolution.
I must
down.
admit, I see this is the old man talking,
Yeah.
but I prefer on the TV. When I do have a handheld, I have to really squint. Like Zelda is so detailed and there's
Yeah.
so much in the world
Yeah.
that I see a dot. I'm like, what is that dot? Is that a monster? Is that
Well,
an item?
It doesn't do Zelda justice at all. Like,
I don't think so.
Like when I was playing it on the plane, and I brought the dock with me to San Francisco and hooked it up to the. It's awesome. This is something that's kind of crazy. I've been reviewing games on the road for my whole career because reviews on the run was like we'll shoot reviews wherever. I've had times because televisions were either outdated or there was just no way to use the hotel TV with the console. I've actually gone to a store and bought a TV in a city so that I could hook it up and play the game that I was supposed to
Wow.
review.
Wow.
And it's been an eternal frustration to be able to do that. But thankfully now with HDMI and every hotel room you're in, even if it's a cheap motel, they have flat screen TVs.
And this guy takes his PS4 with him.
And I've traveled with the PS4, and I've traveled with I took the PS4 to Edinburgh, and I took, I was
You were
playing.
on vacation, good.
But people, that is vacation for me. I
There's
love
no
to relax and play games.
Victor hasn't been on vacation since 1984.
I think that's very true.
But now with this machine, you can bring the dock, which isn't that big, and you can bring the tablet, and you can be playing all the time. Which it's like they made it for me. Thank you, Nintendo. So but I like it better on the TV especially Zelda.
Yes. And it looks nice on your TV, by the way.
It looks good on the thing, and then you put it up on a big screen. It's like, that's the way it's supposed to look. It's amazing.
Agree.
But I don't know about every game, right? I don't think Snipper Clips is not going to benefit too much from being on.
Don't you dare put that down. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. But virtual console games like Neo Geo games,
those are going to rock.
That's going to be
tablet.
amazing.
Yeah,
that'll be super fun.
I do, and I've talked a little bit about this with people, and I know that Nintendo doesn't want to do this right away, but I do hope that they phase out the 3DS development. That they turn the 3DS.
I don't think they're going to, because they have another Fire Emblem game. Echo's coming out,
and they're using the 3DS as an entry point. It's a lower cost. It's something that younger players could pick up and stuff. But I can't wait for Nintendo's guns, all of their efforts to be pointed in this direction. We're going to see incredible.
I hope it is already.
Well, we're going to see incredible portable stuff too, right? Out of that equation.
Animal Crossing.
Right.
That's what I want to see. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you have time for one more?
Yeah, one more question.
Okay, JBJ Blaze.
Yep.
He tipped us $5. I didn't know we could do that.
Oh, that's amazing. Hey, JBJ Blaze.
Thank
how
you.
you doing? Thank you.
I didn't know you had that set up. And he also wants to know, will you review Minecraft when it gets ported to the Switch?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you will?
Yeah.
I'm not a big Minecraft guy.
I'm not a big Minecraft guy either, and I feel like the story has been told so often, but when I do jump in, I certainly appreciate why it's so successful. I have to tell you, like we talked about at the Rocket and Ray Guns, we put in Dragon Quest Builders.
Builders, yeah.
That game is incredible.
We finished that game. I love it. Yeah.
That game is amazing because it takes what Minecraft does, and it sort of says, well, here's an awesome overstory with lots of great characters.
The Dragon Quest world is amazing.
It's a wonderful game, yeah.
And I think they'll improve it.
That's a game I want.
There'll be a Dragon Quest Builders too. I think it sold really well.
But I want that on this. That is the perfect
and
thing,
I believe
right?
that kind of thing will come on this.
Yeah.
And we'll get Dragon Quest in the future on this.
Yeah.
Like 11, which will be amazing.
Just a quick shout out to JBDGB Blaze for the $5. I get 20% of all proceeds that have happened during this thing. I don't know. Did we discuss that? So I think I got a buck.
Yeah, you got
Thank
a buck
you,
coming
JBG.
in the mail.
I think I get
Be a
25
Canadian
cents
buck.
out of this.
So
JBG Blaze.
that Canadian buck
420.
translates to a quarter, so you can almost play an arcade game.
I'll use that quarter to get the fucking Switch out of the dock. It's been stuck in there for like half an hour, so I'm just gonna.
That's awesome. Is that it? Are there other questions? We could do one more. Or two more.
I can't remember who asked it. I can't scroll up because my thing's frozen.
Oh, sorry.
Somebody wants to know, how do the buttons feel? Are they clicky or smushy?
Oh, that's a great question.
They're very small.
Yeah.
On the actual, let's just bring this up as an example.
Yeah.
These buttons are very, very tiny. It's very unusual. It's a little bit to get used to, but I did.
It's not ideal, especially coming off of the Pro Controller, right? And then
I went from the Pro Controller to the Grip and these two controllers for an entire couple of days, and then back to the Pro Controller. Using the Pro Controller again was weird at first because I got so used to this. But this is not ideal. Like playing Zelda with this, not ideal.
No, and
it works, but it's not ideal.
You know what I think is also interesting about that is that here's the left Joy-Con.
Yeah.
It's backwards for everybody now.
Yeah.
But this functions like a D-pad.
Yeah, that's
weird.
Yeah.
And it's not a D-pad. It's 4 different buttons. And I had a really hard time playing Zelda and wrapping my head around, you have to push up to do some kind of quick switches if you want to switch weapons quickly. When I had the Pro Controller, which has an actual D-pad here, it was so much easier for some reason. I'm like, oh, it's a D-pad. I hit the D directions. And just my brain kind of went right to it. So there is something a little odd about having 8 separate face buttons, and then you've got 2 more buttons here.
Yeah.
It's 14. How many? Wait a minute, let me do this math. I can do it. 30,
We'll come back to you, Ben.
7,
We'll be back in 2 years, everybody.
12. There's like 16 buttons on these fucking things, so it's a little buttony.
And the Pro Controller isn't perfect either. Like, how many times have you taken a screenshot when you didn't want to take a screenshot? Yeah, I've got the Pro Controller right here. Yeah,
That happened with the PS4 controller too. The share button did the same thing to me. I'd be like, pause! Shit! I've just uploaded dick pics! Dick pics again!
I have taken a million screen captures by
I
accident.
saw that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
bunch. And it's because, I mean, they have the capture button is right beside the minus button. And when you're like frantic and you're trying to, you know, what does the minus button do in the game? Like
That brings you up to the maps.
Oh, the map, yeah. You're like floating somewhere and you want to know where you're going and you press the map button. Nope, capture, great. I was doing that a lot and I was pressing the home button quite a bit too.
You're right behind the microphone.
Yeah.
You show there.
Oh, sorry. I was pressing the home button quite a bit too. You see, they're very close together right there, and you've got your fingers, your thumbs on the D-pads, or on the analog sticks, and it's very easy to press the wrong things. But it's comfortable.
It's great.
It
it.
is a very comfortable.
I was
piece of
telling
hardware.
people in the lineup this morning.
And the rumble is amazing.
I was telling everybody in the lineup this morning who would listen. I was the old crazy man going, "You gotta get a Pro Controller."
You're like the old man from Zelda.
Yeah, exactly.
You should just cloak yourself.
I won't say who I am. And no. But I was telling everybody, you got to get a Pro Controller, and everybody replied, "I can't afford it, and it is expensive. It's $100 Canadian."
They should have. When we were talking about what do I wish they would have done, I wish they would have shipped the thing with the Pro Controller, and then the Joy-Cons would have been your, do you want to play wacky games? Go get the Joy-Cons. Because to me, that technology so far and there's so much packed into these things. Yeah. There's so much tech in here, and none of it's unlocked. I mean, you don't feel like you're really using
Switch
it.
is supposed to show that, but nobody wants to play
those bad.
Lame games. Yeah.
I think if they had swapped it and we just all got a regular controller and Zelda, and then these were optional, I know they would never have done it, but it would have felt like it
was in
sense.
there as well to say, look, this is a full console, and it's
that would
also,
have been very nice of them to do that,
right? Yeah. But I mean, listen, they're a company that knows how to make money. And they're going to be making a whole ton of it.
Let's be honest. Like I thought about it today. This must cost about $20 for them to make.
They're all expensive.
Yeah.
You know, like what is it, $89.99? The PlayStation 4 DualShocks are $79.99 or $69 or $60. They're probably dropped now, but when they first came out, they were $80 easy. And you know, and the Xbox One controllers are super expensive. If you want to get that custom one, which is such a great idea, and I hope the other guys do that too, where you can go onto a website.
Make it the way you want it.
I think that's awesome. But that's $110, I think, in Canada. Right?
That's ridiculous.
And then there's the Microsoft super expensive, the Expert one, which is $150 or something like that. Right? I mean,
for a fucking controller.
Yeah, it's our input device, and this is totally satisfactory. I find when you're in when it's all connected like that as a tablet, totally comfortable to play. It's not ideal, but it is impressively comfortable to play. You know, and to play a pretty complex game like Zelda, totally cool. Yeah. But it pales in comparison to this. This is a way more fun game.
Yeah, I'm also surprised we didn't get more or really any touch games. This is a multi-capacitive touch tablet, and it actually is pretty good when you're touching on it and
I
tapping on it.
I even had touch capability until I was like, Zelda showed up, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I press it, and you know, green highlights. I'm like, I forgot about that.
What does it do in Zelda? I haven't done that at all.
No, I'm just saying that's how you can start your game.
Oh, okay.
Brings up in the screen, you hit, boom, you start from that.
I wonder if Nintendo buried any touch stuff in these games.
Oh Jesus!
I think if you draw,
Lucas, he's going to be up all night, just like
there's
a mountain.
Yeah, let's go through the whole game again, because I bet there's one area where you can touch something, and you just have to walk through the whole map.
You're going to be fondling horses until 3 a.m.
Aren't we already?
Terrible.
I think we're already doing that.
Ben,
we really are doing that.
Ben, you can take the saddle off the horse.
I love being in the grass, and you're low down, and you're going right up behind. It says go directly behind the horse, so you're at this horse's ass, and you're sneaking in. It's pretty creepy and awesome.
Have you guys ridden a deer?
Oh no.
Yeah,
No. That's so Princess Mononoke.
I grab one.
That's so Princess Mononoke.
Can you ride the ram?
Sorry, guys. What's
Can
that?
you ride a ram? I've seen those guys. Those are pretty fucking vicious.
I haven't gotten close
What
enough.
about a bear?
I don't want to talk anymore about that because
Okay,
it
no
just
more- no
came
more-
out, and
no more
there's
talk, no more
like
talk.
I don't want to spoil
Yeah.
anything for people. We should
Yeah.
do this again though for that
Yeah.
because
I did. Oh, just one last thing. I did ride Yoshi in it. So.
oh,
get
fantastic.
Alex.
Okay, let's go find him.
Oh shit!
Huge spoiler. Huge spoiler. Any other big last questions, Blake?
I mean, I have a bunch of little ones, but I mean, a big one is: have you guys tried switching the eShop to like a different region, to like Japan or?
No.
No.
Nope.
Have not tried switching
That's
the
a big
eShop.
thing, right?
Haven't tried
It'd be interesting to see what's on there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm curious now. Yeah.
Because there's no region locking anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's so strange. That's weird for Nintendo.
Yeah.
That's so out of character.
That's good. Maybe that's how there'll be a lot of games for this machine.
Yeah, I'll play all the Japanese ones. That sounds good.
Play it again.
Yeah.
You haven't played this in Japanese. Play
Yeah.
it again.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's good. Thank you, everybody that's tuned in to watch this, and we'll watch this later. Really appreciate everybody's viewership and support. And I know there's still a tremendous amount of curiosity, some anger that they couldn't find Switches out there.
Yeah, oh
And-
yeah, I want to
and-
hear about all of that
and a
later on.
lot of people with their fingers crossed that more good stuff is going to be announced. I, for one, am fully optimistic that Nintendo is aware of their missteps and is going to take some drastic action.
Somebody's getting fired and they're scrambling, I think.
Well, I also think that they are going to have some things that make us very, very happy at the level that Zelda is making us happy.
I hope so.
I really do.
I want that.
And
we all want that.
Well, I mean, that Mario looks like it could be, up at that level.
I'm glad
too.
that's coming out in a month.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Touche, my friend. Ben, thank you so much, buddy. You rock. Thank you so much for taking time away from Zelda to join us today, my friend.
That was my pleasure. It was nice seeing you at GDC. It's nice having these arguments, and I don't know if you're going to be right with all this optimism, Victor. But I got to say, it's nice hearing another old fella be not grumpy about this stuff because I'm so grumpy about it. But I'm hoping you're making me feel a little bit better. I feel this much better. This much better. Also, just FYI, 65 buttons.
65 buttons. You did the math.
I did the math.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
Get back to us later with the button report because there might be more.
There might be some more inside.
I got a spreadsheet. Going.
This just
Oh,
in.
Google Doc. Google Doc.
4 more
I'll share it
buttons
with you.
discovered.
John, awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here,
yeah,
buddy.
absolutely.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you very soon. And I have to click this, as you noticed. Yeah.
It's gonna look weird for a second.
Okay, so I got to stop streaming. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.